These notes cover how to solve area equations, so you guys need to have all of the formulas to find the area of different types of polygons. So it says, we're going to start at the top. It says, after winning the state tournament, the wrestling team hangs a pennant shaped like a triangle on the gym wall. And then I copied and pasted an example of what a pennant is from Google. It says the base of the triangle, so the bottom is 1.5 feet long, and it has an area of 2.25 feet. How can you use the area of the triangle formula to find more about the triangle? So it gives us the area and it gives us the base. We need to find the height. So it's essentially like taking the information you have and dissecting it. So I took this off of the interactive student lesson, which is the thing with like the flashing arrow. You guys have been on it before. But on the first thing it asked you to do was to select the area for a triangle. And I told you guys when I taught it to you that whenever you get to high school, they're going to do this one, half of base times height. But in the 6th grade, I just teach it to you as base times height divided by 2 because I think it's a little bit easier. I know you're not supposed to use the X, but I don't know how to make the dot on the computer. So base times height divided by 2. Now we have to plug in our information. So if you look back in the story, we need to find the area. And it says area of 2.25 square feet. So plug in 2.25. It gives us a base of 1.5, and I've already put it in right here. I haven't even started the math yet. I'm literally just taking the numbers that they gave me in the scenario and plugging it into the formula. All right, so now we have, this is technically a 7th grade math problem because it's a 2-step equation. But I have 2.25 equals 1.5 times the height, which is what we got to find, divided by 2. So I told you this is 7th grade stuff, but we can do it. So this bar right here, like this one, stands for division. And we have to use inverse operations. So the inverse of dividing is to multiply. So first step in solving this is to multiply it by 2. And remember, if I had you guys like draw lines through the equal sign, so that means we got to multiply by 2 over here. 2.25 times 2 is just 4.5. This is really hard. We still have an equal sign. And whenever we used inverse operations, it like got rid of this for us. But we still have this. So 4.5 equals 1.5 times the height. And this is the kind of stuff that you saw whenever you were doing inverse operations. This is 6th grade. So whenever the number and the letter are right next to each other, which is what this is, 1.5 times h, it means to multiply. So to solve, we're going to do the opposite of multiplying, which is to divide. So divide by 1.5 on both sides. Most of you guys seemed to like the 1-step equations when we were doing them, so this really shouldn't be too awful for you. Anywho, 4.5 divided by 1.5 is actually a whole number, and it's 3. So your height of that pennant is 3 feet. Okay, the hardest shape to work with is a trapezoid, so this one's going to be a little bit difficult. It says a garden in the shape of a trapezoid has an area of 44.4 square meters. So it gives you the area right off the bat. First, actually, let's go over the area formula. It's this, half of the height multiplied by the sum of both of the bases. So the base is the top and the bottom. You add those together, multiply it by half of the height. It's a lot of steps. Anywho, a garden in the shape of a trapezoid has an area of 44.4 square meters. One base is 4.3 meters. The other is 10.5. We have to find the height. So let's plug in our information. Area is always on one side of the formula because the formula is literally area equals half of the height and then plus times the sum of the bases. So put the area right here. It was 44.4. Let me make that a little bigger. The boxes are really little. We now need to insert the bases that they gave us. So one of them is 4.3 meters. Again, I haven't started the math yet. I'm literally just plugging in the numbers that they gave me in the scenario. The other base is 10.5 meters. Dang it, none of those were big enough. Okay, So next step is if you're doing order of operations, which is like the PEMDAS thing, you have to do parentheses first. So in this scenario, we're going to have to add these two things. So 4.3 plus 10.5 is 14.8. So we've done step 1 of many. Step 2, let's see, we have 44.4 equals half of the height times 14.8. Okay, so now we're multiplying here because this is to multiply half of the height times 14.8. Opposite of multiplying is dividing. So divide by 1/2. Divide 14.8 by 1/2. This looks really weird, I know. But basically I'm asking you what is half of 14.8. And half of 14.8, well, half of 14 is 7. And half of 8 is 4, so 7.4. It's really not that hard. And now you're at the last step. This is what you guys have seen before. This is a one-step equation. So the opposite member of the letter and the number right next to each other, it means to multiply. So to solve this, we have to divide by 7.4. So 44.4 divided by 7.4 is, and after all of those decimals, your answer is a whole number. It's 6. So the height of this trapezoid is 6 meters. All right, 1 second. Okay, the additional examples on the bottom of your notes are much easier than the two that were on the top of your notes. So the first one, it says a triangular bandana has an area of 70 square inches. So first draw yourself a triangle on your notes. And then the area of a triangle is base times height divided by 2. Area equals, that'd be helpful. Okay, so now let's plug in our stuff. Well, it says a triangular bandana has an area of 70 square inches. The height of the triangle is 8 inches. Write and solve an equation to find the base. All right, so we've got area and we've got height. So plug in 70 for A in your formula, so that would be right here. Set it equal to, let's see, we're given the height, it's 8, so we're going to substitute 8 in, like right here for H, and we're finding base, so I can just leave it as B. I know you're not supposed to use the X. That doesn't even look like an X anyway, so let me just use the dot. Times 8. And then divided by 2 is just part of the formula, so divided by 2. Okay, the first step in solving this is to, let's see, this little bar right here means division. So the first step in solving this is to multiply by 2. So if I multiply by 2 on this side, it gets rid of the 2 for me. But I have to multiply by 2 over here. And 70 times 2 is 140. I know my handwriting is sloppy, but it's really hard to write with this. I got rid of this, but I still have this. So I got to set it equal to B times 8. And now this is a one-step equation. So the opposite of multiplying by 8 is to divide by 8. And let's see, 140 divided by 8 is 17.5. So your base of this triangle is 17.5 inches. Next one, a parallelogram. So that's this shape. It's like a pushed over rectangle. And the area formula is base times height. It's really sloppy. The parallelogram has an area of 60 inches. If the base of the parallelogram is 12, what is the height? All right, so it's got area of 60 and a base of 12. So plug 60 in for A. This one's like the easiest possible scenario. The base is 12, so plug 12 in for B and solve for H. So the opposite of multiplying by 12 right here is to divide by 12. And 60 divided by 12 is 5. So the height of your parallelogram is 5 inches.